Let's do some letters. Okay, there are 22 signs. We now got to learn them. The first one is called Aleph. Now, I've given you the name of the sign. Let me zero in on this a little bit if I can. Focus, zoom, 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 zoom. And it looks like this. Now practice making them, okay? I'm going to try to show you how I make the letters. There's no one way to do it. And if you're left-handed, you may think of other ways. Of course, left-handed people think of other ways of doing everything. But that's a good thing. Diagonal line. And now you just have two kind of arms, if you will. They should have a little bit of curve to it. But the key is that they really don't come together here. If you try to do this with 2 strokes instead of 3, you tend to make an X. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? A nicely written Aleph has a little bit of a curve, and again, the legs don't, or the arms don't quite touch in the middle there. See what I'm saying? And again, what we're doing here is sort of a handwritten, printed version, okay? What you have in the text is what it would look like in a printed version. There is also, by the way, a modern cursive script that is used in modern Israel today that's like handwriting, and it's much quicker, and the forms are not as precise and stylized, but we're not going to worry about that. Again, you can see that in other books. Now, the thing about Aleph, 2 problems here. One is the natural tendency to consider this a vowel, since A, it's the first letter of the alphabet, and B, the word sounds like it starts with an A, Aleph, okay? Now, that's simply not true. This is a consonant, not a vowel, and the second thing that makes it hard is it doesn't have any natural sound to it that corresponds to anything in our language. So we got sort of a big problem right off the bat here. Why couldn't we start with a B that we know is a B? See, we can all go B. But to make the sound of an Aleph, the Aleph is called a glottal stop. I probably say that in the book somewhere. A glottal stop. And is probably a catch in the back of the throat. All right? Remember that, and if you hear modern Arabic speakers today, you realize that they have a series of sounds and clicks and lots of nuances just in the way they pronounce words that we don't know. And sometimes that's the difference between calling somebody a nice name and a bad name. So these do make a difference. The best explanation is that the glottal stop is something like the sound that you don't hear in a British Cockney accent between hard doubled consonants, like the way someone would say bottle, bottle. Now, did you hear that glottal stop? Bottle. See that sound? That's probably no sound at all. That's what most people think is the sound of an Aleph. Of course, nobody was running around with a tape recorder listening to Moses. So all of these pronunciations are a guess at best. Well, then when it comes to transcribing the sound of an Aleph, what are we going to do? Well, they use an apostrophe mark. Well, that doesn't help much. See, there's no sound there. I'm sorry. I wish I'd start with an easy letter, but I didn't make this up. There you go. That's Aleph, and it's marked by an apostrophe. We'll come back and review that, okay? The second letter, any questions on Aleph? Let's say it, just say the name. Aleph? Aleph. Very good. By the way, there's nothing sacred about the spellings of the letters, okay? I use the more traditional, using a P with a line over it, which is a soft P or F sound. And we'll talk about that in a minute because this is an actual Hebrew letter that's a P with a soft sound of F. Okay? But you may just as easily in books see an Aleph referred to as A-L-E-F, which sounds the same. And for my money, you can, when I ask you to write out the names of the letters, if you can sound it out and it looks right, I'm not going to worry real much whether you've spelled it this way or that way. Okay? Now, Beis is a little easier to handle. Okay? Here you have an over and down. It's not a hard right angle, but it's a hard right turn, okay? And then you have a base, okay? Pretty easy to make, kind of like you're going to play hangman. Over and down, and then the base. Now, be sure of two things, okay? One, that base has to have a little bit of an extension over here. See what I'm saying? If you just make this, it doesn't look like a base. In fact, maybe you can see coming up down here a letter named Kaf that's going to look a lot like that badly made base if you're not paying attention. Okay? So you got to make sure that the bottom line extends, but that the major part is on the left side of that. Okay? If you start doing this, you see, then you've got it kind of off kilter. All right? The writing, almost all these letters have sort of a writing box, if you will, a rectangle, into which the letter fits. And this really is predominantly open space in the middle of the box. Okay? Now that's the letter Beth, and it corresponds to a B. That one's pretty easy because it's B is a second language, or, you know. All right?